Hello there and welcome. This is another episode of Inside the Draw. It's 10:15 at night Mountain Time on what day is today? Wednesday, the 12th of August, and I am in Denver, Colorado. I am in my basement. It's dark, it's bedtime, but I want to record this pod. I'm going to break down the men's today. I'm going to split two podcasts for the men and the women this time. I've said I'll do that a couple of times previously and I never do, and I always end up with like a 1 hour episode, but I'm going to do 20 minutes here, men's draw, 20 minutes tomorrow, women's draw. There's lines out at the different bookmakers for most of it. There appears to be more women's lines than men's. Don't know if the draw came out a bit earlier or not. I was kind of concentrating on what's going on in Canada, but I will dive into the men's in a second. A couple of things first. Iga Swiatek has served her notice that she is well and truly back, and I have been very critical of her and very much not a believer of her at all over the past while, but I don't think many players would have beaten Elina Svitolina today up in Toronto, up in the six, as cool people call it. Not sure I qualify, but yeah, in the six. Look, Iga's back. Here's her route, by the way. Here's who she beat this week. Sara Bielek, Victoria Golubic. Nothing to see there. You'd expect her to beat both of those. Marta Kostyuk, that was a banana skin she could have lost. Diane Schneider, that wasn't just a beating, that was a demolition. And then Elina Svitolina today, who I think won the second set 6-1 and was up a break in the third as well. But yeah, unbelievable stuff from Swiatek. As far as I'm concerned, this might be a controversial thing to say actually. As far as I'm concerned, as of right now, Iga Swiatek should be the favourite for the US Open in Flushing Meadows. And the fact that she's like 4 times the price, or 3 and a bit times the price of Aryna Sabalenka is just wrong. Sabalenka's price is way wrong. I did a reel on her during the week. I don't know what day it was. She is off the boil. She is in the doldrums. She has lost her aura. Players are not afraid to play Sabalenka anymore. She no longer comes up with the big points and shots in the big moments. I don't trust her. I think she's way too engaged in off-court antics, Instagram, social media, jewelry, handbags, her fiance, anything she can do that's not tennis. And that probably sounds harsh, but while I'm sounding harsh, I might as well keep going and be a bit harsh. She drives me crazy with watching the stuff that she does, and like her antics really annoys me, and I don't get annoyed that easily by stuff like that, but she really annoys me. It's like constantly in your face with this bling and handbags, and my god, like one or two of the comments on the reel during the week were, around how she needs a bit of humility, and I couldn't agree more. I'd be delighted to see her lose her number one, to be honest. I wouldn't be at all disappointed to see her have a drop and be in the doldrums for a little while. It's like every interview she wants to show how big her wedding ring is and how big the diamond is on it, and talk about money and talk about her designer puppy, and it's just stuff that drives me mad. I'm probably on my own in that, but whatever. Anyway, Swiatek is back. There's a girl who's not into any of that shit, and I've given her plenty of stick in her performance and stuff over the past while, but she's back. Brandon Nakashima and Ben Shelton have set up what I think could be the biggest US men's tennis match in 10 or 20 years. That could be a bit hyperbolic, but I can't think of a bigger one. This is a Masters 1000 after all, and America are guaranteed to win one now. And like 2 US men making a Masters 1000, yeah, it's depleted. No Sinner, no Djokovic, no Alcaraz. These things don't come with asterisks beside them. This is going to be a trophy. It's going to be a Masters 1000. They're going to be in the record books. It's an exceptional week for both of them for different reasons. Nakashima has never been at this level in his life, and I put him up on the pod. If anyone listened to the preview for Montreal, I put up Nakashima at 11-1 to win the quarter, which he won, and I put him up at 66-1 outright and each way at 33. So the 11-1 already a winner. The plus 3300 place part to make the final is already a winner, and he has a chance now to take home some 66-1 money, which would be super. But I tried to get a bigger bet on than I was actually allowed. I got knocked back on that Nakashima one, so I don't have it for as much as I would have liked, but I still have it for a bit. Pay the bills, says you. So that is an interesting one for me. But Nakashima looked amazing. I was very impressed with how aggressive he was against Hodar today. He just said, look, if I trade with this guy in a neutral state from the back of the court, I'm going to be beaten. I'm not going to do that. I have a massive serve. I'm going to put the serve in, and if it comes back mid-court, I'm going for it. And he did that to a large extent. And he was the one who was able to get the breaks, not Hodar. So, and by the way, Hodar was super this week. I couldn't have been more impressed with Hodar. So well done to Rafa Hodar. He's making a name for himself. It's inevitable that he is going to make the top 10. It's inevitable that he's going to make the top 5. It just depends how quickly he'll do it. And he'll be a threat for the US Open. He'll be a threat for the Aussie Open. I still think clay is his best surface, so he's an amazing player. And it's been an amazing breakthrough for Rafa Hodar this season. I would love to see Nakashima go and win Montreal, because like Nakashima is probably never going to be back in a 1000 final once the big boys start coming back in again. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's his big chance, and I give him a really good chance in the final. So speaking of the final, he plays Ben Shelton. Ben Shelton is 5-0 in that head-to-head, but they've been close. The last one was 7-6 in the third. Forget where it was, but Shelton, I put a reel out about Shelton a week ago, and I basically criticised his return game. I said his serve is elite, but his return is well below average, and he's playing way too many tiebreak sets, and he's playing way too many 3-setters. Like in 23 of his previous 28 matches, he had gone the distance. That is massively unsustainable for an elite player. And his serve is elite. He's unbelievable. He's winning more than 70% of his service points, and I think he has like the singular best serve on tour. But his return game is way below average. And then this week, lo and behold, I'm taking credit. He went out and he's played 5 matches and he's won them all in straight sets, I think I'm right in saying, and he's only played 1 tiebreak. So unbelievable, like a real deviation from what he's usually at. So I was very impressed with Shelton, and Shelton deserves to be favourite in the final, and he probably will win, but I do give Nakashima his chance. I think the lefty thing probably plays into it a bit, because like Nakashima is not that strong, I would say, in the backhand, and you know, Shelton will play into that a lot. It's interesting that Shelton's having this breakout on a slower hard court, and Nakashima, to be honest, but Shelton more so, because I would have assumed he'd just love a really fast hard court. But yeah, it's pretty slow in Montreal, and he's having this result. Karolina Mukova is confirmed for the US Open. She came out today. She had a minor procedure a couple of weeks ago. She is confirmed for the US Open. I'm delighted about that. I give her actually a decent chance. I don't think she'll have had any warm-ups, but she still has 3 weeks to go, and she'll be playing practice sets, and maybe she'll enter somewhere. I don't know. I doubt it. But like she, you know, a player of her quality and caliber, she could probably use the early rounds as warm-ups, although that's less of a thing on the women's side than the men's, because obviously they don't have the extra set to kind of ease your way in, like Sinner at the Wimbledon, for example, when he was he 2 sets down, or is it definitely a set down to Serbian player, what's his name? Doesn't matter. Oh my God, the player that came into my mind was Marinko Matosevic. Does anyone remember him? Anyone who's like an old school tennis fan will remember Marinko Matosevic. Can't even remember if he was Serbian. Was he Croat? He was Aussie, but he was from one of those countries. Anyway, I forget. Sorry for my ignorance. Francis Tiafoe is playing Cincinnati. He had a cyst removed from his hand like 5 days ago. So that's a weird one. I was trying to Google and see how big a deal is that, but it obviously depends on the size of the cyst, where it was. He's playing. He says he's there, ready to go. He's in the draw, so yeah, he's there. And the other one who's there is Felix Auger-Aliassime, and obviously he pulled out of Montreal. He said he felt a tweak or a twinge in his back prior to playing in Montreal, and that's why he pulled out, and he is ready to go, and he's been in Cincinnati for the past 2 days practicing hitting. He looks great, he looks fit, so you have to take him at his word that he's fine and ready to go. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on was Rafa Hodar, Ben Shelton and Brandon Nakashima. I think the 3 of those are going to be very tired coming in this week. There's no way they can't be, would be my view. Obviously, Taylor Fritz, for example, you know, went to the Washington final and beat Hodar, and he tanked round 1. He 100% tanked round 1 in Montreal. He was like, yep, cool, I'll see you in Cincy. So I'm expecting a big bounce back from him. But obviously, Hodar, Shelton, Nakashima, they've gone the whole 12 days here almost, and they're going to be tired, I think. So that will be interesting to see how that goes. One other thing before I started Cincinnati and straight into quarter 1. Rafa Hodar, for all his positive traits and his amazing tennis, he needs to cut out the college shit that he pulls the odd time, which is like his opponent serving up a set and a break, and all of a sudden his laces have broken again. How many times? I've seen that 4 or 5 times now from Hodar. There's definitely a bit of gamesmanship. He called the physio in the Washington final right before Fritz was serving for the title, which I hate to see. Look, people can argue he needed the physio, whatever. I think when you start doing that consistently and over, it becomes a pattern, it becomes a habit, and you become known for it. And he's too good a player to start pulling stuff like that. He will absolutely grow out of it. It's just a thing at the moment. Once you get someone sitting down and talking to him and telling him you can't be doing this stuff, he'll stop. But at the moment he's doing it, and I hate the laces stuff. It's like it's always at this important key juncture in the match when his opponent happens to be serving up a set and a break, and I really dislike it, so he needs to improve on that. Okay, we're going straight into the draw, and we're going straight to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a very fast court. It is one of the fastest courts on tour, unless they have changed something drastically this year, so you can expect that to be very fast, and that is massively important to know, especially if you're betting. But even if you just want to watch tennis and enjoy it, it's important to know it's a fast court. Quick drink, sorry. Last 3 years, Alcaraz defeats Sinner last year, 5-love retired. 2024, Sinner defeated Francis Tiafoe 7-6, 6-2, and in 2023, Djokovic beat Alcaraz in a crazy match. I remember it, 5-7, 7-6, 7-6. He served for it in the third, I think up 5-4, but he had also got loads of match points at 5-3 on the Alcaraz serve, and Alcaraz held and then broke in a marathon game, and then it was a great tiebreak again. So yeah, Djokovic won that, and he's in the draw here, which I probably should have said. Okay, we're going straight in. I'm going to look at my notes instead of the actual draw, probably, because that's the whole point of writing notes. But quarter one, overall, honestly, it's pretty easy for Zverev, and I know I said this last week in Montreal, but Zverev did have a quote out at the start of the week saying, oh look, I don't think I'm going to play anywhere near my best tennis here in Montreal, but I will be ready for Cincy. So maybe in his head he was already half tanking and just wanted to get to Cincinnati, and he lost the Talon Griekspoor in round one and looked pretty bad, but it could have been a tank, so I'm not holding that one too harshly against Zverev. He's in here with Cam Norrie, Tomas Martin Echeverry, Tommy Paul, who has never done well here, Hubert Hurkacz, who will enjoy the fast conditions, and Valentin Vachereau, who will enjoy the fast conditions. He won Shanghai, which is a notoriously fast court, always has been. That's the top section of quarter one, and in the bottom section of quarter one is Rafa Hodar, Alex Bloks and Flavio Caboli. So none of those, like, I wouldn't be too worried about Hodar. I think he's got to be fatigued and tired. I think Zverev would take care of him if it came to it. Bloks and Caboli is obviously a relatively weak bottom segment of quarter one. I think the player that's probably the most danger to Sasha Zverev is Hubert Hurkacz, and if he can put it together, he has a huge game, especially if he's serving well. But Tommy Paul is in there too. I can't see much. Zverev will have to play one of Cam Norrie or Dino Prismic in round one, but Prismic is a clay courter. Cam Norrie, it'll probably be Cam Norrie, but Zverev will be totally fine there, especially with the lefty into the Zverev strength, which is the backhand. So I will be quite shocked if Zverev doesn't come through this quarter. I would be even more shocked if Rafa Hodar does. He has to be running on fumes after a final in Washington, which was a Monday final, and then all the way to the semis today to lose to Nakashima up in Canada. So yeah, I think Zverev is going to be quite cozy here and quite comfy. Quarter two, I told you I was going to go through it fast. Quarter two, tough quarter to be honest. Novak Djokovic is in here. He is the 3-time champion in Cincinnati, and he lost 5 finals before he won it 3 times. I think he lost the 5 finals before he actually won it, and then he's won it 3 times since. So obviously he's older than me. I'm 38, Djokovic is 39, so I always kind of tell myself that whenever I'm thinking of his chances for anything. I think his days are long done in the slams, personally. I know he made a semi-final of Wimbledon or whatever it was. Was it a semi? Yeah, where he beat Felix Auger-Aliassime in the tiebreak in the 5th set, but I just think he can't put it back to back anymore in the slams, but he probably can at this level, and especially on a fast court where rallies are going to be shorter. I think Djokovic has a chance here. He obviously likes it here and has won it, like I said, 3 times, but there's plenty of good guys in here. So Jack Draper is in his top segment of quarter two. Luciano Darderi is there and Jakub Mensik is there. Now Darderi is a total non-factor on a fast court. Even though he made a quarterfinals in Montreal, it's slow there. That's fine for him. This is the opposite. He'll be out early. Jack Draper, I have zero expectations. I can't begin to say how unimpressed I was with Jack Draper in Montreal. Now he might enjoy the fast conditions a bit more, but I am totally out on Draper for the near future at the very least. Long term, he'll probably be fine. I hope he'll be fine because I rate him. But short term, I'm totally out on him. And I said Jakub Mensik is in here, so he'll be the biggest danger to Novak in Djokovic's half of the second quarter. And then in the quarter final, if Djokovic were to get past, let's say, Mensik in the fourth round, he would be due to play one of Yuri Lehechka or Arthur Fils for my money. Alex de Minaur is also here, but I'm basically out on Alex de Minaur as well. I think Lehechka is the man here. I think Fils is obviously incredible, but Lehechka will enjoy the fast conditions more than Fils will enjoy the fast conditions, is my guess. I think Fils, if you put him on clay or you put him on a medium-paced hard court, he's probably at his happiest. And then if you get an ultra-fast hard court, I feel like that's where Lehechka can do his damage. So he didn't get that opportunity. Both of those boys actually lost to Hodar up in Montreal, but like I said, that's a medium if not slow paced hard court, and Hodar would certainly have an advantage over Lehechka at the very least. I think it's pretty neutral between him and Fils. I actually thought Fils might beat Hodar, but Hodar impressed me again. And Fils was pretty good, honestly, that week. It was a good week for Arthur Fils, but I think Lehechka is the man there. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a bet in the quarter. If I had to have a bet in the quarter, it'd be Lehechka because he avoids Djokovic until the final. And yeah, I won't say there's a half chance Fils would be tired. I think Fils would be fine, but I prefer Lehechka on the faster hard courts. And then into quarter three, I'll just scroll down on the draw as well in case I want to see it. Taylor Fritz, so I touched on him in the kind of build up a few minutes ago, but he has made lots of semis and quarters here in Cincinnati. I think he will love, if you think like of Fritz loving grass, well, what's the next closest thing to grass? It's a really fast hard court. I think he's going to love it. I think the draw has been relatively good to him. He will have his challenges here, as we'll see in a second, but he tanked the shit out of Montreal. He won the title in Washington. He was super. He beat Hodar, by the way. Not many guys are beating Hodar these days. Fritz beat him. Fritz looks back to his very best. I think he's a massive danger at the US Open. I think he's a massive danger here in Cincinnati this week. And I expect a big tournament from Taylor Fritz. The other big name that's in this quarter, I probably should have done it in order, but the other big name that's in this quarter that I think this could be a sneaky bounce back tournament for is Daniil Medvedev. And I love Daniil Medvedev. Honestly, full stop, or period as they say in the US. I love Daniil Medvedev, full stop. I don't need to qualify that, but he won the title here in 2019 and he's made loads of semis and quarters too. And again, if you were to give Medvedev if you were to give an aggressive Medvedev his choice of surface, I think he'd pick a fast hard court. He's a hard court specialist, as he said himself. Don't forget who the umpire was in that famous rant, but he basically said, these are not hard courts. I think I would know I'm a hard court specialist. It was somewhere he was frustrated about the slowness of the court. So he likes a fast court. I think this is a very good sneaky bounce back spot for him. I think Fritz and Medvedev will end up playing each other in the quarter final, and that will be a blockbuster. João Fonseca is in here. Casper Ruud is in here, who will be like a cow on ice, to quote Sharapova, on a really fast hard court. I couldn't think of a worse surface for Ruud. Francisco Cerundolo, much the same. He likes it slower. Rublev actually made a final here a while back, a couple of years back, so he's in here as well, but I think his best years are past him. And Brandon Nakashima is in here, and Brandon Nakashima has to be tired. I think he's in the same boat as Hodar that I mentioned a little bit earlier, so I almost certainly won't be on Nakashima this week in Cincinnati, or next week in Cincinnati. It is this week. So my two guys here are Medvedev and Fritz, and honestly I was hoping to get a little bit better of a price on Medvedev. He's about plus 450 to win the quarter. I was kind of hoping the books would be like, look, this guy is falling apart, he hasn't done anything in ages, he's out early last week again, and I thought I might get a 10-1 kind of quarter thing, but well, maybe not quite that, but I thought I'd get a little bit better than the plus 400, plus 450 that's on offer, so I probably won't be backing him at the quarter there. And then quarter four, Ben Shelton heads it up, and Felix Auger-Aliassime is in here. Ben Shelton will love the fast conditions. He's made quarterfinals twice here. I just think he has to be a bit tired as well. I actually forget what he did in Washington, but this has been a long week for him in Montreal, and he obviously has the final to come, and then you have to travel down to Cincinnati. Now he does have a bye, but he'll be playing probably Saturday. Probably won't be. It'll probably be Sunday that he'll be playing his first match in Cincinnati. Big change in conditions, so depends how quickly he can handle that as well. Honestly, he doesn't have that bad a draw in his kind of section. The two guys that he's going to have to get past, he has an easy enough first couple of rounds, and then he would have to get past the winner of Hugo Humbert and Lore Musetti. And I love Lore Musetti. Anyone who listens to the pod knows I love Lore Musetti, but I think again he just likes the clay. He likes the slower hard courts. He's not going to love the really fast hard court. Look, he has a beautiful slice that keeps low in the court and gets through the court and penetrates. But I think Hugo Humbert is actually a really big danger on a fast hard court like this. So Humbert with the lefty serve and the big game, he's a bit. This is, I don't want to say like his game is a bit dumb sometimes, but anyone who watches tennis and watches Humbert will know what I mean. Like, he can be a bit of a ball basher and go into that ball basher mode sometimes, where it's like, geez, I wish you just put the ball in the court and like rally a little bit. And I feel like it's almost like Alicia Parks or. There's other players like Iva Jovic last week, Amanda Anisimova. Like, the two of those drove me mad with the way they played. They were just like going for winner after winner and pumping the ball into the bottom of the net or 3 feet long, and it's like there's no happy medium. But anyway, Humbert can be a little bit like that, but when he's red lining, he is a danger. So he's potentially a bet for the quarter here. I think I would probably fancy him to get past Musetti, to be honest, and especially with the lefty into that one-hander. And it depends how tired Shelton is. Like, Shelton's obviously the class. And then in the bottom half of this quarter, just to finish off, we have a couple of decent names, to be honest. Lerner Tien is in here, Francis Tiafoe, Stefano Tsitsipas, and Felix Auger-Aliassime. And Felix Auger-Aliassime is going to play Tsitsipas in the first round. Felix Auger is going to love, like, if you think of what he likes fast. Well, preferably he likes indoor hard courts, but he likes fast hard courts. He has made quarterfinals here twice as well. He's obviously coming in fresh. He's totally fit and fine, according to himself. I saw him practicing. He looks great. So I've no reason to doubt that. I think Tsitsipas in some ways will like the fast conditions for his serve and his forehand on his service games. But the problem is the return. He doesn't have one. And his backhand is going to get very rushed on a fast hard court. So I can't see it for Tsitsipas. So there's a line through him, despite a small resurgence in form. And then Lerner Tien, like, again, I think he would prefer, like, he's a bit of a counter puncher. I think he would prefer the slower, the medium paced hard court like he got in Montreal, and he made the semis where he lost to Shelton today. And also he could be a bit fatigued and tired. So I like Tiafoe here, and he's a big old price. He's a chunky old price, 80-1 plus 8,000 on Tiafoe, who made the final here the year before last and played Sinner 7-6 in the first set, or I don't know if it was the first set or the second set. First set was 7-6. So I like Tiafoe. Tiafoe likes it here. The only thing is, obviously, there's a bit of a worry about his cyst that he got removed. But at 80-1 in a field like this, missing all the big guns and avoiding Djokovic and Zverev, I don't mind it at all. So he's going to be a bet. So there's a couple of players I like here, and there's a couple of players I'm kind of avoiding. Let me just pull open 365 in the top of the market. So yeah, like, Shelton is probably one I'm avoiding. Hodar is definitely one I'm avoiding. Like, this is a rapid court. Hodar is tired and it's a rapid court, so everything is against him. So he's the easiest swerve of the week. I think Musetti is an easy swerve. I think they're probably the main two. I think Djokovic at the price is a swerve, so I'll be swerving Djokovic. I'll be swerving Shelton, obviously. So that's a lot at the top of the market, basically. It's like the second favourite, third favourite, that's Djokovic and Shelton, and then the fifth favourite is Hodar, and I think like 3 of the top 5 for me will be swerves. So Djokovic is too short. I think Shelton is potentially tired and short, and then Rafa Hodar, awful spot for Hodar just with the conditions and the fatigue. So there's a couple of players I like, and I'll just get straight into it, I guess. As always, shop around, and it's pretty early. Like, 365 don't have a full complement out. They don't have name the finalist market, which I love, and they also don't have player to meet in tournament market, which I love. So I will inevitably and invariably be adding in some of those. I already said if I was to have a bet in the second quarter, it would probably be Medvedev. Just at the price, I would have preferred it a tiny bit bigger. Again, if I was to have a bet in quarter 2, Medvedev's quarter 3. If I was to have a bet in quarter 2, it'll be Yuri Lehechka at 7-1. I think you can actually get plus 750 somewhere. Francis Tiafoe plus 1200 with 365 is very bettable in quarter 4. That's a quarter that's wide open. Like, I don't think if Tiafoe is healthy, he's not a massive underdog against Felix Auger-Aliassime. Yes, he's an underdog, but he's not a massive underdog. And there's a chance Shelton is tired and there's no one else in there. So Tiafoe will have a great chance there in a place that he loves, and he needs to start putting something together because he's been bad. And he lost early in DC, which is his home tournament. He lost to Terence Apman. So he obviously lost there and was like, shit, this cyst is annoying me, I'm going to get it removed. And he did. So he obviously thinks he can be back here and play, and I assume he can. Hugo Humbert in quarter 4 is worth a bet at plus 2200. I haven't seen anywhere bigger, but I thought 22-1 was fine. And Felix Auger-Aliassime, if you prefer the chalk, he's plus 500, and I actually think that's fine as well. I would much rather be on Felix here than on Shelton, who's like plus 150 or something for the quarter. So yeah, Humbert is in the top section with Shelton. I'm going to take him, and then in the bottom I'm going to have a go at Tiafoe and Felix Auger. I think Zverev a plus 250 to make the final is probably fine. I really like Zverev's quarter, and then I think he will be a very strong favourite in the semi-final against either Djokovic or Lehechka or Fils. So I think that plus 250 is probably fine. I thought Fritz plus 500 to make the final. I thought that was probably fine, and I prefer that than his quarter price. Felix Auger, you can get, I actually really like this, you can get 27-1 on Felix Auger-Aliassime to win the tournament at FanDuel. I thought that was quite nice. I already said you can get 80-1 plus 8,000 on Francis Tiafoe to win the title. That's, I don't know if it's 365, I think it's 365. And I think Rivers and FanDuel are all pretty close to that as well. You can get Medvedev. I'm going to back Medvedev at 20-1 with FanDuel. I think that's a nice price, and this is a nice spot for him on a court he loves. Very fast. He's fresh. He needs to bounce back. I probably wish he wasn't in Fritz's quarter, but can he beat Fritz? Yeah, of course he can. So this is a sneaky bounce back spot for him. That's probably all the bets I'm going to do right now. There are some Fritz to make the final at plus 500. Felix Auger to make the final at plus 1200. Fritz to win it outright at plus 900 I think is fine. So you can see those are the players I like here. I kind of like Fritz, Felix Auger and Medi. They're basically the ones I like, and Francis Tiafoe. So I'll be betting them in probably most of the markets, and maybe Yuri Lehechka as well. But like I said, I want to wait for some of the other stuff to come from 365 in terms of name the finalists. For the name the finalists, I'd probably be looking at I'd be looking to see what sort of value I could get with Zverev in with, say, Medvedev, Zverev in with, say, Hugo Humbert, Zverev in with Felix Auger, and Zverev in with Tiafoe. I'll have a look at those, and then I will probably look at Yuri Lehechka with the same. He's in quarter 2, and I'll probably look at him with the same players, and those will be named the finalist selections if there's a bit of value on them. And then meet in the tournament. To meet in the tournament, they usually do the highest 2 seeds in each quarter. So for quarter 3, I am very keen to see what price they go up with Fritz and Medvedev to meet in the tournament. I really fancy Fritz and Medvedev to meet. I think it's a really nice spot for both, so I'd be surprised if that's not a quarterfinal that we see. Please follow along, like and share, send it to your friends, send it to your family. Don't want to bore anyone, but I do look at the stats and stuff on Spotify, and this week it was like a 73% completion rate for the podcast. So I have very few listeners, I have very few followers. Nobody really listens to the podcast at all. I get anywhere from like 30 to 150 listens on YouTube for every pod that I put up, and then I get honestly about 30 listens on Spotify, so it's that small. And then on the flip side, I'm getting like 350,000 views a month on Instagram on my reels, so you can see that's where all the traffic is. But I really want people to start listening to the pod, and the pod is doing well. Like, I can follow it's on a chart, it's in the charts for the tennis podcasts in like 12 countries. It's number 3 in the podcast charts for tennis in Ireland. Obviously, it's probably quite a lot of people I know listen to it in Ireland, and it's not just listenership, but it's also frequency, how often you post, and the ratings and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going pretty well. I thought the 73% completion rate was super. I was really happy with that. So it means like when people are listening, they're listening through to the end. So the onus is on me to make sure I keep these episodes nice and short. I don't want to be putting up 1 hour episodes. I want every episode to be under half an hour, and preferably I want to be in around that 20-minute sweet spot, because I think people can actually commit to 20 minutes and it's like, I'm going to lift some weights here for 20 minutes, I'm going to listen to this in the background. No one wants to do that for an hour. So that's what I'm going to try to do from now on, and it's kind of part of the reason why I broke up the men's and women's tournaments this week. I will be back tomorrow with a women's preview for Cincinnati as well. That will also be well under the half an hour. I'm going to aim for 20 minutes. So again, thank you for listening. Please follow on Instagram at Inside the Draw. Again, share the profile with your friends and family. I would really appreciate it. And if you do see like reels on Instagram or whatever, if you can repost them, I would be so appreciative of that. It gets the algorithm to kind of stimulate it a little bit. And yeah, like and share with your friends. And it's on Instagram. That's on Instagram, but I'm on YouTube with all these episodes. I upload the video on YouTube, and then I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so on, all the places you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening, and talk tomorrow. Ciao.